Hi everybody, it's Bill from Xcentrick, and today we're going to take a little bit more time, but we're going to walk you through some of the differences in the Shelby program, from taking you through a Shelby GT Plus to a modified Shelby after the car has been licensed by Shelby, and then the customers ask for some additional stuff, and then a Shelby Supersnake wide body. So we'll just kind of walk through, see some differences, let you know what's going on. So we're working on these three right now behind me. These three are all basically finished, just doing the last little tidying up bits, and then they're getting shipped out to our customers. The first two that you see here, this one goes to Donnelly Ford in Ottawa, and it's available for sale. The orange one that you see behind that is going to Olivier Ford, our partners up in the Montreal area, and that one may be sold already. They've got two more. Actually, they just called and said they've got two more coming down to us by truck right now to get modified into a Super Snake wide body and then another Super Snake premium, a GT premium. And then the Super Snake wide body in the blue in the back, that one's going to Donnelly Ford in Ottawa as well. So that one's available. Beautiful cars, but we'll walk you through and show you the different aspects of it. So the guys are working on them, so you'll hear some background noise. So let's just get started. And Austin's working away on this one. Barry got into the dash, and Alex making all kinds of noise back there. So a GT, base model GT, will start out as a GT Mustang, and then what we add to it is a lot of performance handling, exhaust, some intake and cooling additions to the car to get it up to a GT Shelby level. This one's gone a little bit beyond that. What we've also done to this, and this is a convertible package, you can see the extra spoiler on the back and so on, but up front here we have, you can see that the stock GT brakes on the premium performance package car are left on the car, and then we add the Michelin tires and the Shelby wheels. So that gives you a 305, 315 stance. The car is a little bit bulkier, or let's get this correct, 275, 305. Correct, Alex? Yeah. 275, 305 on this tire, on this car. We also see it's powered by Ford badging on it. And then inside, we'll go over top of Austin's head. You will see in there that it is a registered Shelby GT with its CSM serial number on it. The addition of the short shifter. The seats. These seats say Shelby on them. So they're a nice cat skin leather seat with the insert, suede insert. And then up top on the dash, we have three more gauges, the gauge pod section. You'll notice that the three vents down below, you'll see a difference in some of the other cars. This one, as a more of a base model GT, doesn't come with the gauge pod, package inside. We add the pod, but on some of the other ones, if you buy the premium car from Ford, it'll have two gauges there already, which we add three more too. So Austin, you're doing okay back there? Yeah. All right, Austin's good. So we're just finalizing. This one has a little bit of work done to the suspension in the springs from Ford that we add on as a Shelby package. It's the first stage of performance in the suspension. We add in the cap package, the cooling package, and all of these get their extra cooling, the new rad and so on. These we've added in one step beyond the base model in performance, which is taking up to a Shelby supercharger, which is basically a Ford performance supercharger, and then add all the package to it that way. With a supercharger, we always recommend that you go with an additional cooling system. Gives it a little bit more beef, so you're not going to overheat in the summertime, especially at the cruises and so on. And we're adding in half shafts and drive shafts. The reason for that is, as we get into the bigger performance, the cars come great, well equipped from the factory, but we're now adding up to 700 horsepower total. So we're adding about 150 plus horsepower to the car. You need to really put in some additional stuff. Okay, so that's the Ford supercharger package with the air breather and the exhaust by Borla in the back. Okay, so walking around the car, that's pretty much what you're seeing in this one. You don't put in the sill plates that you get with the Shelby. These ones are a little bit different, and you don't get the sill plates and you don't get the puddle lights the same way. But we can add those in after the fact if you like, or as part of the initial build. So we'll move over here. This is one step up from our more basic model to a little bit more modified. And what happens is after the fact, when the customer has received the car or has titled it, and we've now got our approvals from Shelby, we can do some additional work for that customer. If they have some specifics that they like, we can add those on even before they physically receive the car at their location. So with this one, that's exactly what we have done. The car again has, with this one, we've got the addition of puddle lights. We've got the Shelby GT sill plates. This one actually comes as a premium performance pack car. You can see the 2 gauges I was talking about earlier, and then the additional 3 up top. Again, CSM number on the dash. So that means whenever you see those on the dash and in the engine bay, and we'll show you those as well, means this car has already been certified by Shelby in Las Vegas as a complete car. They've approved all the additions that we've done to it, the modifications we've done to it to make it a Shelby. So that's proving that this car is basically finished and ready to go. So what we're doing right now with this car, we're just going through making sure all the voltage is correct, the draws are correct on the engine, so that once the customer gets this, because this is traveling a few hundred kilometers away from us, quite a few hundred kilometers away from us, we want to make sure that it's working well here at our facility before it heads out. Now with this, the customer had requested post-title or post-approval some additions put onto it. So if you look at, you just saw the motor in the GT. We've done the same physical things to this one to make it a Shelby, but then the customer said, I really like to get these valve covers put on, give them the blue Racing Ford look to the engine. So we've added on the valve covers, painted them the blue like he wanted. The rest of the car, we get a little bit different here in the fascia of the car. With the first black one that we showed you, it retains the standard fascia from Ford. And with this one, it's a complete change. And when I say fascia, we're talking this whole area here. We take and change that right to a Shelby supplied front fascia. So if you notice to the other car, it's a little bit more aggressive on this car than it is on the standard model. And then as we move around, all this stuff really stays the same as we've discussed, other than the addition of the covers. Now the customer on this particular one, instead of leaving the stock brakes, the Brembo brakes, with just the gray calipers as they come from the factory, he asked us to upgrade. So we did that, added in some color that he wanted in it, and it actually looks really good. When you look at this car, it's a nice aggressive looking car with a bit of an exotic look with the yellow calipers. This one has an upgrade in the suspension in that it's not just got the springs and lowering kit that way, but it's also got the struts from Shelby. So it's a step up in performance when you take this to a track day. Real nice setup. And again, pretty much the same inside. We've got the same package on the seats with the Shelby, so all that's really good. And again, this car is pretty much ready to go. Rear spoiler, all that stuff's done. And on the back, when we look at exhaust tips, you'll notice on these ones, we've got the Borla exhaust tips, Shelby by Borla. This one and the black one have the same thing, same spoiler, same package on the back. So that's the basic GT Premium, GT Premium Plus in this area, where you can have some input into buying your car and selecting it to be your car in particular to you. There's always a few options you can add to it, either prior to getting it approved. There's some basic Shelby options that we offer, or post. If you're finished, we get the car and we've got our Shelby numbers like we see here. As you can see right here, it's Shelby American, Windsor, Canada, that's us. Shelby number on it, which matches the inside. On the other side of this, we'll just lift this up here for a second. And all the cars should have this. It's a proof that this car was built by a Shelby mod shop. So these are the two builders. This was Chris and Austin. built this car. Okay, so that's proof that it's a true Shelby. Now we move over to the granddaddy of them all, and this is the monsters when you get to it. These are the Shelby Supersnake wide body cars. So, gone from a GT Premium, up to a Supersnake wide body. Now there's a version in between, which is our Supersnake, which has the same stance as the standard GT. This is a wide body. You can kind of look down between these two cars and it becomes very obvious what a wide body is. If you look at the rear quarter panel on the blue one to the rear quarter panel on the orange one, there's about a 4-inch, 3.5-inch addition that we put on the Supersnake wide body. We also changed the front fenders. You notice it here. These are GT 350 style fenders, which add about another 1.5 to 2 inches on the front. So we've added an overall about 4 inches to the front of the car and almost 7.5 to 8 inches on the rear of the car. These ones are ready for the track. They're big time. The tires and wheels on these, again, Shelby American Supersnake tires and wheels. And we have a 305 wheel on the tire on the front and a 345 tire on the back. They're monstrous. So the difference is, again, on this car. Full Shelby fascia. You'll notice that it's got another splitter added onto it. So the addition of that, and again we have all the side skirting and so on. Inside this engine bay, we're 700 plus horsepower there with the big Whipple supercharger, and you can get this either in black or polished. The big Whipple supercharger takes this to well over 800 horsepower. Again, addition of cooling systems, brake duct systems, all that kind of stuff to make the car very track ready for you. And in that respect, we go to a Penske suspension in this car. This is, again, this is the top of the line. This is when you want to be able to take your car and really compete out on a track day or a track attack or whatever. Fully adjustable Penske suspensions. Big dollars, but it really pulls the whole package together. The hood on this car is much more aggressive than the two others. It's got air extractors front and back to get the additional heat out of the hood. And we're just in the process now of doing final finishing on the body and just going to put the white stripes on the hood. So we'll walk around this way. So Chris is working in the back. From a brake standpoint now, you can't see all the suspension work that happens on this car, but there's a lot of underneath where we actually change spindles, we change half shafts, we change the position of the back end of the car as well to get that track performance package in it. And then the huge brakes. These are Brembo brakes by Shelby, are for Shelby. These ones, you can't get much bigger inside any wheel that's out there. These are about as big as you're gonna get, and when you wanna stop, these will definitely stop you. Even after a hard day of racing on the track, these ones just don't go away. They're full performance. So this is another nice addition. This is the carbon fiber mirror caps. We put these on. In this one, let's see if we can open this. Yep, we can. You want to come around here, Jess. This one has Shelby Supersnake inside here. And if you look at our puddle light here, this has got the Shelby right underneath the horse, okay, which is, again, another little addition that you can add to it. Now, the seats are slightly different, although the coloring on this one is the same. If you look up on the top here where we had Shelby on the other ones, we now have Shelby Supersnake. And we don't do just the front seats, we also do the back, so everything looks like a factory supplied car. Close this up for a sec. The badging up top here, you can kind of get a feel for how wide these things are. So we're just doing final cut and polish on this car, denibbing and so on. And then this changes here. We can get either a polished chrome tip or the black tips. And then the rear sail panel has Shelby in it. And then a lot of people ask us why this is backwards. It's really not. If you're inside the car and you look out, you're seeing Shelby written in your mirror on the split on the spoiler. Okay, so coming across here. Now we've got a white stripe package on this. You can get this in a variety of colors to match or to go with whatever color you're picking as your base car. We can do that in the vinyl, which is what you see here, and some of our Super Snakes, some of our cars go out with a painted stripe as well. It's an additional cost, but it really does look beautiful. With that, it ends up, we pretty much paint the whole car, because when we paint in the stripes on a car, we want the feel of them to disappear. Vinyl, you'll always feel the stripe. On a painted car, we clear over top of the stripes, so it blends right in, so it's a nice smooth transition. So that kind of takes you through everything that we do with the Shelby program on the vehicles themselves. The trucks, I think we talked about that a little bit ago, so that gives you an idea of what the trucks are all about. The other package that we have is the Shelby Superformance program, which is the Cobras, the Daytona Coupes, the GT40, which if you've watched the movie lately, Ford versus Ferrari, that was key in that one. And then beyond that, we also have the 63 Corvette Grand Sport. So we're really excited with this package. We're really excited that we get the opportunity to do this with Shelby, and we're looking forward to more people getting involved with us. So if you have any interest, you want to look and talk more about these cars and the availability and where our dealer network is spreading out to, give us a call. Watch us on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, all those places. Jump onto our website, you'll see all the information on there, and let's talk. So thanks a lot, and I hope you enjoyed it.